Welcome to State of the Nation on today's News Talk. For Brian McLean in Central Texas, I'm Timothy Shea in Central New York. We've got an expanded version of GVTV with our very good friend Gene Valentino, the irrepressible host of the Grassroots Truthcast. You can follow him on X at Gene Valentino and on the web at genevalentino.com and grassrootstruthcast.com. Gene, welcome back to State of the Nation.
Thank you, Timothy. I love that GVTV. It's part of the TNT family. That's all I know.
Well, we feel like your family and always look forward to what you're going to bring us. What do you have tonight?
Well, it's been a crazy day. Positive news first. There is a national unity, a camaraderie of spirit, a resurgence of Americana and patriotism that if you haven't experienced it yet today or this week because of the doldrums you're in, you will soon. That's Gino GVTV telling you straight out from my heart to yours. I believe that the issues that are consuming the headlines, which you've been reading and we're going to talk about, which get a normal person upset on any given day, are issues that are going to morph into a solution, because we're not like 150 plus nations on this planet. We are different. We're leaders. We set the tone, we set a direction, and we set the spirit of our moral turpitude, our standards in life that the rest of the world follows. And shame on us now, gentlemen, if we don't pick it up when the going gets tough. My dad used to say, don't tell me how you're doing when the sun is shining and it's bright and clear outside. Tell me how you're doing when you got a hurricane at your back door, your best friend just screwed you, and life seems to have no opportunity in front of you. Tell me how you're doing on that kind of day. And I think before we talk about the topics, we're different. We're different because we stand apart from the rest of the world. It's our human condition here in the States that makes us different. We just have to protect ourselves and drop the hammer when we see bad behavior. Now I'll let you talk about it.
Well, we see a lot of bad behavior out there, don't we, Timothy? My goodness, the border is the first thing on my mind today, seeing a lot of reports of crime, heavy crime, terrible crimes, that bring those clouds to one's mind that you're talking about there, Gene.
You know, you said it perfectly, Brian. You know, there's over 20 million, even on a conservative calculation. It's more like 27 to 30 million. But let's just say 20 million to keep it real. 20 million illegals have been in this country, have come into this country over the last several years. 9/11 on 2001, 27 Saudis, terrorists, Al-Qaeda type insurgents got through our border. They destroyed the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and lives. That was only 27 people. Here we have 20 million people that have come over this border. Let's say 1%. Now, 1% is a pretty small percentage. Let's say 1% of them are radicalized and terrorists. Let's just say that. Do you see the potential problem that's brewing in the next 5 years? 200,000 people that have already permeated the neighborhoods and villages of this nation. 350,000 acres of land owned in and around military establishments of the United States. Just last week, I'm watching a news report with over 30,000 Chinese coming into this nation over that part. Do you think China doesn't know about 30,000 people coming over our border? Do you think they got out of China without China's blessing? Do you think China's border is protected? Do you think maybe ours ought to copy do 50% of what China's doing, and I'll be happy? That border they have in China is an iron wall that prevents any exiting unless you want to be killed. So if 35,000 Chinese have gotten into this nation in only the last 8 months, where are they going? And what are they doing with China's blessing? Wake up, America. It's at our doorstep. We need to rise up, take arms, and put your suit on and get ready for something you're going to have to do to assist our local police and law enforcement agencies to help defend us. And I hate to say it, I wouldn't recommend taking the law in your own hands, but I do recommend you defend your family and your property and go all the way if you can't push them back to the border. Take them out, because they just killed over 800,000 Americans, folks. Over 200,000 of it is from fentanyl just in the last several months. It's one thing to be ignorant about the facts. It's another thing to be stupid when the facts hit you in the face and you choose to ignore it. Now, what kind of American are you? Which one of those two types are you?
And Thomas Paine spoke so eloquently over 200 years ago about the sunshine patriot and the winter patriot. You're absolutely correct. And it is in our bones, Gene. As for the invasion, it's not just at our doorstep. They're trying to break the door down. I can't tell you everything I know, but I can tell you that this week I got 3 different reports of military installations being attempted to being infiltrated by Chinese nationals, and that was nationwide. So it's not a here or there. We've reported on the story of the Arabs trying to get into Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and we've reported a couple other instances, but I got 3 different calls from 3 different people this week telling me that, yeah, it happened again. They tried to get in. It's not a coincidence. It's a real and present threat. And Brian last night had an amazing conversation with Chuck Hordak from Right of Center USA, talking about how they're going after Sheriff Richard Jones in Butler County, which is Cincinnati, Ohio, because he is recommending and doing exactly what you recommended, getting citizens the education and the training they need to help respond with natural disasters and civil unrest emergencies, etc. And DOJ is going after Sheriff Jones because, again, he's standing with we the people and not with the fascist running our District of Columbia government.
Well, you don't have to be a genius to see what's happening, the deception and dishonesty from the left, the Democrats, and this Biden administration is not in dispute anymore. They have perpetrated a fraud. My problem with the Democrats is that we are now talking about elderly abuse by propping up a poor guy who has some level of dementia and using him to distract your attention. What's the story today that made the headlines? Trump and Biden preparing for the debates, right? It's one of the stories. And what do I care about that right now when I've got a border that's being invaded? When I've got China taking over 300,000 plus acres of land. Hey, I tell you what, will China let us have 300,000 acres of land in their country? Will they let us sit in their backyard the way they're doing here in ours? Legislators need to say something bold like, when I get into office, I'm going to pass a law that seizes control of all interests in the United States that are proven to be associated with foreign adversaries. How about that for a law? It's not racist. It's not unjust if you plan on protecting America. We need to move boldly now and say things that we weren't saying just a year ago. We need to do things differently. And I see it right at our doorstep, this deep fake that we're talking about. I feel sorry for Mr. Biden, not because I think he's a nice guy, but because he has some level of incapacitation. If he isn't able to be charged for a crime by prosecutor Her, then he belongs in visiting angels home in a nursing care facility, and regardless of the consequence of who his replacement's going to be. We're talking about a system that has to be followed if the guy in charge is not working or gal is not working.
You're exactly correct. In fact, that was the best meme I saw this week. Somebody took Obama leading Biden by the hand off the stage. They actually said it, Gene, to the visiting angels theme song, the little jingle, which was pretty funny. But yes, on a human level, let me put it this way. I don't take pleasure in the fact that he's demented. However, I can't feel sorry for the man. He's literally spent his entire racist life sniffing children and lying. So he's going to eventually end up having to answer for his crimes. If not here,
well, he has to answer
when he plays Chutes and Ladders with St. Peter's. We're going to have to leave it there. Make sure you check out GeneValentino.com and the grassrootstruthcast.com and follow Gene on X at Gene Valentino. Gene, have a great weekend.
Thank you, gents. Appreciate it, everybody.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.